We ready? Uh-huh.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Titans table for two in the two-tone blue. That's Andrew,
That's Christian.
and we're gonna give you our review or preview, excuse me, of Week 2 against the Jets. Jets coming to Tennessee, Nashville this week. Andrew will be at the game. Matter of fact, possibly some rain, a little bit of weather. I kind of was looking as possible, maybe not. I know we got rain on Saturday, but we know how that goes. It keeps changing. So that'll kind of lead me into my first question. The offense. I know we're all ready for kind of a pass heavy Titans offense with all the moves and everything. I think we might get a little more run this weekend as well, especially if the rain and stuff is a factor. What do you think?
I think that was originally just a confusion with all Titans fans. Is that Brian Callahan's here? We're going to be, you know, throwing it all the time. And if you look at, you know, the Bengals offense, it's based on running the ball efficiently. Now, it doesn't mean we're not, exotic smash mouth anymore. It's, a more modern day offense that, you know, route combinations are there, the motions that opens up the ball, get the playmakers the ball, let them make plays. So it's not like a Vrabel offense per se, but running the ball efficiently is a big part of Brian Callahan's offense.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, it's a big part of
and
the
that's what they
game.
did in the first half. So,
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it's just it's felt like a wide receiver slash passing game drought in Tennessee. For the
yeah.
last, I mean, since forever, since I can remember being a Titans fan. So I think that's just kind of Titans are just kind of antsy and just kind of jacked up, especially with the exciting off season. It just, I think people are just maybe a little excited to see what can happen and maybe a little overzealous in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, just give it time. We spoke kind of on this on the recap that it's a new offense, a lot of new pieces and stuff. Um, but Tony Pollard had a pretty good game last week. I think we're maybe looking for a little more Tajay Spears this week, though. I think we'd like to see him get a little more involved, and I think we might see that this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Callahan said he wants to be a more even touch, and a lot of it probably is just feeding the hot hand.
He's heating up.
Because Tony was hot in the first half. Just
Yeah, absolutely.
you know. But I just give it time. The offense will get there. This offensive line is young. It's got to gel. But the plays are coming, and you see it
Mhm.
already. The play calls are there. Even like that end around to Burks in the last game, the second
Yeah,
one that got tackled for a loss. Now I know he's going to block a defensive end, but Tyler Boyd hits that block. Burks possibly scores on that play.
yeah,
He's getting
yeah.
some yardage. But I mean, give it time. I promise this is going to work. Give Callahan time to work. Get time for this offense to get, in the groove. Hopkins should be 100% this week. Give it time.
Hmm. Yeah, and the O line seemed to function a little better in the run game than they did the pass game,
Yeah.
certainly. So, not a good
I
start
think
for the
that
O
has
line.
to, yeah. I think that has a lot to do with just being, like I said, young. Um, Run game is simple. It's go there, put your body on somebody
Yeah,
else's body, move them out the way, make a hole. When it comes to passing, you got to make sure you're communicating with the guy next to you, and it's just getting to where the guy, like, okay, I know all I got to do is, stick a hand and hit this guy and he'll be fine. Then I need to move over and help him,
yeah,
knowing how to work together as a unit to create that pocket
yeah,
for
yeah.
Levis. So I
Chemistry
think that's
certainly
just
takes time and stuff.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
So
so yeah, I do think
the
that the rush
pass
game will
blocking will get
be.
better.
Yeah, it will get better. I think the rush game is going to be a big part of this weekend. I think we might. Oh, I like how Tony Pollard kind of bounced back after not starting out, too well. He had 3 or 4 runs that went for about a yard, I think, last week before he kind of started popping off. So I like to see guys bounce back, and stay in it and stuff like that. So I like seeing that from him.
Mhm.
Got to cut down on the penalties though. Messy,
Messy, messy, messy.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
sloppy. Uh,
Yeah, I think we had 8, and I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I would bet 5 or 6 of those were offensive.
yeah, I had a tough
You
time
know,
funding it before we got on here, but yeah, I know more than you want. You
you
know,
can't put your offense behind the sticks. You know,
yeah,
first and 20, second and 15s are not easy to get.
no,
And Callahan mentioned it in his Monday press conference after the game. Once you start getting those second and 12s and those third and 9s, your playbook starts to shrink
hmm
on plays that are built to get you that yardage. You get the
yeah,
second and 6s and the third and 3s. Then you're seeing more opportunities to do the screens, the motions, to take the shots when they're there. So
yeah,
I mean,
and you
not every
can't,
play is going to be positive, and you do need to. You're going to have to convert some third and longs, but
yeah,
it can't be a consistent problem.
yeah, no, not at all. And like we said, most of them are on offense, but I mean defense as well. You can't give a guy like Aaron Rodgers second chances. So got to clean the
No.
penalties up this week. Uh, but that'll kind of
Known
bring
for
me.
drag. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, you're okay.
known for getting the defensive line to jump off sides and then taking a shot to the end zone.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah,
his go-to
absolutely.
move. Doing those hard counts, mixing up the cadence, and then all it takes is one guy to jump off, and he's throwing it deep, trying to get a
Yeah,
DPI or a touchdown. So
and that'll kind of. I mean, we looked great on defense, so that'll kind of bring us to that. Hopefully they kind of continue to look like what we thought they were. Um,
you know,
Sebastian Joseph Day, I'm impressed with how he's been, at least in the first week and some of the preseason and stuff too, from what we've seen just as him as a Titan. I think he's going to be a key veteran as well. Maybe more. He's kind of one of those we're not talking about as much, you know, uh, but he's going to be key, I think, and not just
I
this
don't think
week,
he had
but
his
going forward.
yeah. I don't think he had his best year last year with the Chargers, but when he was paired up with Aaron Donald, he was great.
Hmm
And I think that's. I mean, I'm not saying Jeffrey Simmons is Aaron Donald because I don't think anybody is,
Yeah.
but that caliber of player, that tier, that
hmm
upper echelon of D tackles.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's great number 2. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
you got throw Sweat in there.
I've got multiple friends that are Rams fans, man, and they are very, very aware of who Jeffrey Simmons is, and they know
Yeah,
that he's kind of the number two guy. That, Donald's not in the league anymore, uh, but yeah, and that brings me, Keandre Colburn actually kind of created that play for Joseph Day. I
yeah.
can't not mention his name. So like, I like to see some of the younger guys named Brownlee. Brownlee was another guy. I like to see these young guys, and I hope they continue to make an impact with New York this week. Aaron Rodgers is two ends of the spectrum there. We have Caleb Williams, one of the youngest quarterbacks in the league, and now we got Aaron Rodgers this week. Two different situations. We're not going to see him make the same mistakes, that a rookie would.
Yeah,
A little less room for error there.
absolutely.
Just get into a little bit about Aaron Rodgers. He didn't have the greatest week this week, but talk a little bit about our defense going up against a guy like that.
The thing is, you're not going to confuse him. He's been in the league so long. You're not disguising blitzes and stuff like that. It's really not going to get. He's seen it all. He's been in the
Hmm
league that long. But I do really believe this defense is built to beat Aaron Rodgers
Sure.
because he had some zip on his arm. He was still throwing some crisp passes, a little inaccurate sometimes, but overall his arm looked fine. But he did look like a 40-year-old quarterback that just tore his Achilles. He wasn't moving
Yeah.
around great. With Sweat and Simmons and Day and Colburn pushing the middle of that pocket where he can't step up, it's going to be really hard on him. And he was trying to get the ball out quick. Like I think he was the second highest from snap to release. And then that's the first thing I saw. I was like, man, he is throwing fast. With the way our corners play, they're press corners. They're putting hands on you. They're throwing that timing off.
hmm
So those quick passes are going to be a lot harder to complete. So you get that push up the middle with Simmons and Sweat and the rest of the D line. Get their hands up, bat those balls because we saw 3 or 4 batted balls in the last game, and those are going to turn into interceptions at some point. Chicago is lucky we didn't intercept at least one of those balls, But
Yeah,
there's plenty of so that's what it's going to be. Get your hands on those receivers, throw that timing on those quick passes off, get that push up the middle, hands up, and then if he tries to roll out, that's when Landry and Key are there to take him down. So I do the way this defense is built under Denard Wilson is to throw off that quick passing game.
sure. Yeah.
And somebody who can't move in the pocket.
And yeah, you're right. I think this is going to be a tough test for Aaron Rodgers this week in our defense. That's the one good thing about last week that was pretty consistent is the defense, So different Aaron Rodgers. He's older, not as mobile. He had 167 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception, 82.8 rating. Um, Still a little better than Will Levis did, but hopefully that'll change this week. But yeah, he's a veteran, man. He's not going to be surprised by anything. I tell you, he's studying that Titans defense, and he knows what's going on, and how good we are. If the rest of the world doesn't, he does. Yeah. So, like,
I think
Go ahead.
I think one of their weaknesses on offense is their line, which is
Yeah.
obviously plays in our favor with our D line being as strong as it is. So, like I said, that pressure is going to be key. I could definitely see L'Jarius Sneed following Garrett Wilson around the field. He is a great receiver. He's put up really good numbers with nothing at quarterback.
Yeah.
So, I trust Cheeto and the whole secondary, really. Cheeto, Jarvis, Roger, all of them. But I could see Sneed following him. Because outside
Yeah.
of him,
Absolutely.
they don't really have a lot. Lazard and Mike Williams, who's always injured. So
Well, and we're a little banged up in that secondary on the injury report, but everybody's practicing this week and stuff. I guess we can kind of go over that. It's kind of similar injury reports. Nothing really major on either side. Looks like most guys are practicing. Even Jamal Adams practiced this week. I saw.
yeah,
Looks
they
like
were
he
going to get our
practiced all
first
week.
sighting. Yeah,
So yeah, that's he was seen all week. It looked like he had full practice. And I think Cheeto and L'Jarius Sneed were limited practice, but that's just for rest and thing. I think Cheeto had a
yeah,
hip thing.
yeah.
Um,
There was no designation on anybody, so everybody's available for
yeah,
the Titans Sunday, which
yeah.
is
Radins
amazing to
practiced
see.
all week. Everybody practiced all week. It looked like.
I don't think D Hop was even on the report.
No, I didn't see D Hop on the report at all. And I think the Jets. I think they had one guy that maybe didn't practice from the injury report. So pretty similar injury reports. That feels good. It's another thing that just been a struggle the last couple of years, man. Some of those Vrabel years, and I'm not putting it on him. I don't know what the issue was, but it was crazy. It just seemed like every other play, guys were going down, and
Yeah.
it
And
was
it's
just
crazy because you're
tough.
seeing around the league with like Christian McCaffrey possibly going on IR. The Chiefs just put Hollywood Brown on IR,
Yeah,
and it's crazy. After the last few years, crazy to see all this happening and like
yeah.
us with nothing. It's like, oh my
Well,
God, T. Higgins has been out for a couple weeks, So
I
take it while we can, for sure.
I don't want to get too far ahead, but I guess we kind of talk about that just briefly. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. Um, but the Titans have a bit of an opportunity here because we've been talking for a while about how this first month was tough. And I always thought if we
Yeah,
could just come in at 500 in the first month, we'd be okay, especially now losing to the Bears, which I thought was one of the more winnable games out of the four.
yep,
But injuries to some of these other guys around the league has kind of created an opportunity. And I hate seeing anybody get hurt. I hope Tua is going to be okay. I hate that.
yeah.
I
Prayers up
hate
for
that for
Tua
Miami.
for sure.
Yeah, I hate
Yeah,
that for Miami. I like that organization. I'm a Titans fan, but I hate to see anybody get hurt and stuff like that.
especially in that fashion where it's just a scary.
Yeah, and
Just
and Green Bay similar situation. I mean, not similar, in severity and things like that. With the position and the injury and everything. So we've got an opportunity here to kind of face a couple teams that we thought might be a little tougher test that are going to be struggling at that captain position there.
The captain of this ship is giving orders. My ship makes me captain.
I'll touch on
yeah.
that a little bit. I mean, you go Green Bay first, and then a little bit on Miami.
Yeah, for sure. Um, it's crazy that they think they said Jordan Love's day to day, but that knee did not look right. If you saw the video, it looked like it
Yeah,
just popped out of
yeah, it looked
place.
bad. That was
Um,
nasty.
yeah, so it's crazy to think that we could possibly get a Malik Willis versus the Titans this year. I didn't have that on my bingo card
Ooh, that's a bingo.
for sure.
No, no.
Uh, but I mean, if he's anything, I mean, he looked great in the preseason game against the Saints, and he has getting better. And I was one of the guys that really wanted him to succeed. But if he's playing like he played for us when he was in the game, against the one benefit he would have is that he's seen our defense all training camp, but our defense has seen him all training camp as well. So
That's
it
my
kind of goes both
argument. When
ways.
people bring that up, I have to say the same thing back. It's like, well, you know, that's a two-way street
And
there, so they know
you go
his
to,
tendencies and things as well. So
yeah, I mean, and it's not the same, game
yeah.
time, training camp. You only simulate so much in practice, but then you go to Miami. They said prayers up for Tua. You got
Mhm.
Skylar Thompson. They talked about bringing in a veteran quarterback. Everybody's talking about Tannehill, but they said
His name's also brought up
Sky.
for Green Bay. I was going to say it's very interesting. We could
Yeah,
either see it's a lot of things have to happen this year, uh, but we could either see Malik and Ryan Tannehill back to back, or we could possibly see Green Bay if something were to happen. And we could see Tannehill and Malik on the same
the same
Green Bay
game.
squad.
Yeah, it'd
Funny
be
how things happen.
yeah, it's the NFL for you. Those storylines are crazy. But if we went back to back with Malik and Tannehill, you're finding out if Levis was the right choice,
That's right.
between the
Yeah.
names. So
And
that would
well,
be
we kind
a
of
fun little storyline.
that's another thing. I was kind of saving him for kind of close to the last. Levis is the kind of the elephant in the room. Once again, all year it's been like that. It's going to continue, especially with the embarrassing kind of second half last week. What do you expect from him coming out of that this week with a kind of rough start and kind of embarrassing himself a little bit? I think that nobody's probably tougher on Will Levis probably this week than Will Levis. I can probably guarantee you
Yeah,
that. A lot of people didn't like what he had to say about not losing sleep, but I didn't take that, any personal way or anything. It's just he's having the mentality of kind of moving forward and not, and that's the
getting
good thing.
better.
That's
Yeah.
behind us now. Week one is back here. That's how it needs to be. So I wasn't offended by that or anything. But what do you expect from him coming out at home, first home game this year?
Yeah, anybody who got offended by that is just trying to be dramatic about it.
Yeah,
Will Levis is a competitor, and the way he was meant is on to the next one. It's time to get better. I can't lose sleep. I got to get up, work hard, get fix the mistakes, and I expect him to do it. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and put out a perfect passer rating or anything, but I don't expect him to make the stupid mistakes anymore.
yeah,
Work on because he had drift in the pocket a couple times, so I'm expecting him to work on
yeah.
keeping his base. You
Kind of
know,
veered to the left a little bit there.
yeah, he kept veering to the left a little bit, so old habits can die really hard and die
Yeah,
slow. But I believe he's working on it. And one thing that I really enjoyed and was good to hear from Callahan is that when he would come to the sideline, he had a great demeanor with talking to the guys, and when he would tell him what he was seeing out there, it was correct. He was like, yeah, that's what
yeah,
you're doing. You're seeing the right thing,
right,
Because he said some guys come over like, this is what I saw, and it's not what was happening. So he was seeing the
right.
field. He just needs to settle down
Yeah,
and make the reads, make the throws, hit those deep balls when they're
yeah,
there. But I expect him to recover, and I don't expect the same game as last time. Like I said, I'm not saying he's going to go 30 for 30 for 3 touchdowns and 400 yards,
no,
but I do expect improvement, and
yeah,
I think we should, as a franchise, expect improvement from our starting quarterback after
yeah,
a game
absolutely.
like that.
Well, it's like you said last week. No hero ball. We got to quit. I appreciate the effort and everything, but no hero ball. And somebody that was really boring to watch sometimes as a quarterback, but just was efficient is the greatest to ever do it, man. Tom Brady wasn't always the funnest to watch. A lot of check downs, a lot of short stuff at times, but he didn't make the big mistake.
Yeah,
he was very good at not giving the ball up. That's his greatest attribute probably, and availability. He's rare. He had that one season. Um,
Mhm.
but I'll take some boring football. I don't need the bomb. I don't need four of those a game or anything. Just no mistakes, man. Just just manage the game. Don't turn the ball over. They say, it's that old cliche too, that the turnover game, you can generally see who won the game by looking at that one stat. Just go down to the turnovers and
Mhm.
see,
Yeah.
turnovers and the clock. If you can look at the time of possession, those are two big factors. And we certainly lost the turnover game big time this week. -2, and
In
that
crucial
was one
spots.
thing. And I'm not comparing Will Levis to Tom Brady. I just bring up Tom Brady because he's the greatest to ever do it. And,
Yep.
and part of that is why is the lack of mistakes. So
Mhm.
just take care of the ball. I'm not here jumping all over his back, ready to bring Mason Rudolph in. Like I saw some comments like that and stuff. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous.
Levis is
So
getting half a season at least. If he doesn't improve in half a season, then you might see him. But he's getting 8
yeah,
games.
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, who's a one game sample size? I mean, yeah, you got this is 10th start. This is first year as
The
a starter. So
Chicago
this is
benching Caleb Williams after that game. Like,
right, yeah, and he wasn't any better. He just didn't make the mistakes. You know, if he does throw a couple of those picks that he almost did, he's worse than Levis. So it's not like we went over that though. He didn't beat us,
listen,
national
he
media.
could be the
So
Browns with Deshaun Watson.
yeah, yeah. Oh boy, that's a wreck right now, and then I tell you,
That's rough.
whew. But yeah, certainly we have a little opportunity here with some of these injuries. Unfortunately, for some of these other teams here to kind of
Mhm.
get some stuff on. We got the older quarterback this week. No disrespect to Aaron Rodgers, I just think that this is a very winnable game for us as long as we stop shooting ourselves in the foot. You know.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, did you want to give me a key player for you on offense and defense? Give me one for each side, and then I'll give you one.
I am going with the rookies on both sides of the ball. It's going to be Latham and Sweat. Latham, we got to see the improvement from week 1 to week 2. I said he's going to have bumps. I'm not once again just like Levis. I'm not expecting him to go out there and be perfect. Will he get beat at some point? Yes, it's going to happen. He can't. You can't expect him to go out there and beat Joe Thomas immediately.
Yeah,
But I want to see improvement. I want to see that him and Skaronzi have been talking and working together and figuring out what they need to do. Um, and he said that in an interview. He was like, the run game is more just, go put a hat on a hat, just physical. I got to work on this mental part of what the pass blocking is. So
yeah,
improvement in Latham in the pass game is going to be crucial. Giving Levis a pocket because you see what he did, and most of his faults were under pressure. When you give him a
yeah.
clean pocket, he typically makes the right decision.
Mhm.
Uh, and then the Sweat, I talked about having to get that interior push on Aaron Rodgers so he can't step up in the pocket and make those quick throws. So closing that interior of that pocket, it's going to make it a really rough day for Aaron Rodgers. So
Yeah,
Simmons too, but Sweat, build on what you just did. He
yeah.
told us you haven't seen my best game. More to
No,
come.
I don't think we have,
And,
and that's a little.
and I need what I need this week. I don't know if you saw, but his nickname is Meatloaf. So
That's
I
all.
need a Mike Keith Meatloaf with the sack.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion, too.
Oh,
So
the goat.
shout
We
out
had
to
a
Mike
birthday. Happy
Keith, man.
birthday,
If
Mike
you ever
Keith.
see this, man. So, yeah. So the beef in the middle is what you're going with. Save some beef for the rest
Yeah.
of us, man. Jeez, quit eating all the
Big
beef.
meaty men. Big meaty men.
Yeah, it's Devondre Sweat, man. God, he looks like a freaking vending machine on wheels last week. I mean, he's just and that's that we haven't seen his best. He's like a big a puppy with big paws, man. Or he's just got to grow into him, man. And he's gonna
Very
be.
athletic one, too.
He impressed me last week. I was very happy to see what I saw out of him, and obviously it helps with Jeff Simmons right there next to him. But Yeah, my first my key player on offense is going to be the obvious one, man. It's going to be Will Levis, man. He's the key to this thing. He's got to be the captain. He's got to be the commander. He's got to command the troops. He's got to go out there and make the plays, make the right decisions, and hopefully he does it this week. He's just got to calm down and do what we know he can do, man. He can do it. It's not too big for him, you know. So he's just got to settle down, and that's my key player on offense, man. It's a little obvious, but you know, I think that's hard to, you know. And then on defense, I'm gonna go with Roger McCreary, man. We'll go with Roger McCreary. Just looking for him to make a big play. Uh, because I mean, I like him. I think he's incredibly underrated. But I'm going with the young DB against the veteran quarterback. I'm looking for Roger McCreary to sneakily have a good game this week. So he's going to be one of my key players on defense. Did you have
And
a? Go ahead.
with those quick passes that Aaron Rodgers has been, it seemed like he was trying to hit in the first game. A lot of
Hmm.
those go to the slot too. So, and that's where Rodgers is going to be. Unless Snead is just following one guy, you're going to see Rodgers in the slot. So he could
Yeah,
definitely play a key role in this game and just jamming up those receivers in the line, throwing that timing off to those slot receivers.
yeah. Looking for Roger McCreary to have some big plays this weekend. Did you have a score prediction for us, man? What do you think is going to end up? What are we going to be seeing on the scoreboard at about 3:30 on Sunday afternoon?
I'll be there, man. Yeah. If you look at NFL.com, I just want to point out their score prediction first.
Okay.
Their score prediction is Jets 23, Titans 19. 19
Okay.
seems like an incredibly hard score to hit, first of
Yeah,
all.
that's a weird score. Yeah,
But that's
you're
what
going to
they
get a
have. And they
safety in
got the
there somewhere,
Jets
I
at
reckon.
3.5 point favorites. Um, I don't think the Jets score anywhere close to 23, honestly. Um, 13 to 27. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close.
13-27.
I really don't.
Okay.
And it might be 13-20. We scored garbage time touchdown or something. But,
Yeah.
yeah, and like the Jets defense is really good, but they're not Bears good. They got
Yeah.
players. They got Sauce Gardner and C.J. Mosley. But I just don't think there's as much talent all around as the Bears. So,
Okay.
and they
Well,
got a problem on the edge. They got Jermaine Johnson, but they've been dealing with that Hassan Reddick stuff all offseason. They traded for him and have got him into the building.
okay.
So,
Well, mine's not too far off, but I've got 16-28 Titans. I'm
okay.
looking for the Titans to have a resurgence. I'm looking for Will Levis to rise up through the ashes and come back and have a good, solid game. I'm looking for Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears to come out, and Tajay Spears to get a little more involved. But yeah, I've got 28-16 Titans. I just don't think I'm like you. I don't think that they're going to be able to handle that Titans defense. Um, and we've talked about the aging quarterback and this and that. I feel like we're going to turn it around and have a
Yeah,
win
I
this
agree.
weekend. By God,
Dubsky.
Dubsky, we're going to eat a W, baby. Eat a W.
Another,
Let's go. That's a W. Let's eat one.
let's try this again.
All right. So, what is your final bite this week on this Titans table for two in the two-tone blue?
My final bite is going to be a prediction. And my
Okay.
prediction is Levis hits Ridley for a 40-plus yard touchdown.
Okay.
They finally connect on the deep ball this week, and it's going to be for 40-plus.
That arena, that stadium will explode if it does.
Absolutely.
Which
Yeah,
brings
it's going to
me
be
to
crazy.
my final bite, which is for all of you Titans fans that are going to be there in the stadium. I'm pointing at you, Andrew. All of you. Everybody in the stadium this weekend. I want y'all to prove that we deserve that new stadium that they're bringing to us. I want you to fill that bad boy, and I want you to make it as tough as possible on Aaron Rodgers and this offense. I want y'all to bring it.
Just bring it.
I want y'all to bring it. Okay. So I'm calling on all Titans fans, especially those in attendance this weekend. So that is my final bite to all of you.
Loud and proud, baby.
Yep. All right. I
All
guess that
right.
wraps up this third edition, man. It's been
Yeah.
a fun
We'll
week.
catch you
First week.
guys. Yeah, it's been good, man. I've enjoyed it. Like to catch up with you guys after the game. Hopefully, we're talking about some W's and not any L's.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
make sure you subscribe, like, follow us on Twitter at Titans Table for Two. Give us a
Tighten
little,
up that like button, baby.
yeah. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Check, please. We're going Dutch this time, right?
That's right. Hey, we'll catch you
Yeah.
guys after the game. We appreciate y'all.
Titans Table for Two. That's Christian.
That's Andrew. Tighten up, baby.
That week.